Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lilydale Radio. The name of the show is called Embracing Your Essence, and I am Colleen Vanderzijden, the host of the show. And as you are joining in, of course, as usual, please do say hello. Tell me your name, where you're from, all of those fun things. And we then will get our show on the road tonight. We are going to tonight be talking about all sorts of things, but mostly we are going to be focused on past lives. I am going to talk a little bit about the soul's wisdom and how the soul continues through our lives. Whether or not you believe in reincarnation and past lives, this will be a fun show, that is for sure. And we will do some mini past life readings tonight, so that will be new, won't it? So as you are joining in, do say hello. Hi, Cindy, nice to see you. And Leslie, nice to see you as well. And before we get to all of that, we have details, as usual. Lilydale Assembly Incorporated is the official Facebook page, and that is where you can find out everything that is happening in Lilydale. I tried to access the page on my phone a few minutes ago to see which workshops were coming up in the next few days, and it just wasn't working on my phone. So I do know there's something this Saturday. That's all I know. I don't even know what it's about. But if you go to Lilydale Assembly Incorporated, you should be able to find it there. And if not there, lilydaleassembly.org. That's the official website. And if you go there, you should be able to find something there as well. So I do want to mention all those things. I'm just going to say hello to everybody as you're coming on. So that's so much fun. Jill, hi Laura and Amber, nice to see you. And June and Michael, nice to see you again too. Oh, I just saw a good post and it's like slipped by me so fast. Denise, I'm very interested in past lives. She's almost finished reading Greg's book, The Quickening. So Greg Unterberger, he has written a book called The Quickening, Leaping Ahead on Your Spiritual Journey. And you can learn more about past lives and all sorts of things that he does in that book. It's a great book. You can get it on Amazon, of course. Hello, Susan and Carla and who did I forget? Another Susan, Carla. Yay. And Nikki, nice to see you guys, and thank you so much for joining. So we are, as I said, we are going to talk about past lives tonight. I had written down as the original topic that we were going to talk about methods to access the soul's wisdom, and Spirit says, no, we're not doing that. So we're not doing that tonight. So we're going to talk about past lives, how they could impact you today, and we'll do some mini past life readings. So that will be fun. So to tell you a little bit about me, if you don't know who I am a registered medium here in Lilydale Assembly. I'm also a certified intuitive life coach, and wrote a book called Courageously You. Looks like this. And if you don't have it yet, it's also on Amazon, and you could get a great Christmas gift, don't you think? And so, as usual today, as we're going, you must be on my page, Colleen Vanderzijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach, so that you can ask questions or have a chance to get a free mini past life reading. This will be fun. I've done some past life readings, but never a longer term like it will be tonight, so this will be fun. So we'll see how that goes, but it will be fun. So you must be on this page, Colleen Vanderzijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach. And I will announce this again briefly in a little bit of time, so I have another announcement to give you first. If you're on Lilydale Assembly, I cannot see your comments, and that's why you need to be on this page. Same thing if you're on the Spiritual Growth and Support Group. I cannot see your comments. So if you want to talk to me, you need to be on my page. So let me backtrack and say hello to people again. Look at all you guys coming on. I'm so happy you're all here. It's going to be a fun topic tonight. Hi, Bob. Nice to see you. Everyone's overdue for another Lilydale visit, I think, except for the people who live here. We're good. So thank you all. And Crystal, again, thank you so much. So before I get to our topic tonight, what I do want to talk about is that Greg and I are creating a most amazing soul empowerment community. And I have kind of told you a little bit about it in the past few weeks. So some of you have a little bit of a heads up on this. And so we are starting this soul empowerment community. And I want to tell you a little bit more about Greg because you know about me. You know, you've been watching me for a bit. You know who I am pretty much, I'm sure. And if you don't know, ColleenVanderzijden.com or BeCourageouslyYou.com, and you can see all about me there. But Greg is a licensed counselor. He's a past life therapist trained with Brian Weiss. So he is certified with Brian Weiss. He has that book that we just mentioned, The Quickening. He has created transpersonal breath work and spiritual activation. He presents internationally for the Edgar Cayce Association for Research and Enlightenment, where their home base is in Virginia Beach, but he travels all over the country and internationally presenting for them as well. And also presenting his whole own workshops everywhere. So we are working together on this soul empowerment community, and it's going to be amazing, just amazing. We have been planning this for months, and part of the reason we're doing this is that we are living in extraordinary times, as you know, right? There's so much divisiveness, and people are feeling so disconnected from each other. You know, people are bullying and hateful and accusatory and trying to limit other people's rights and everything. So there's a lot of disconnection happening here from ourselves to other people. So many people are feeling alone and lonely. Some people are feeling confused and directionless, questioning our purposes. And so in some aspects, we're actually disconnected from ourselves. We don't really know who we are and what we want. We don't know how to create that joyful life that we do deserve. So we're creating this community of like-minded people, people who are interested in living their best lives, people who are interested in spirituality, people who are interested in their personal and spiritual development and growth. And even with this feelings that people are feeling lost and everything, some people are also saying that they feel like there should be more to life and they don't know what. And there can be more. So this community is designed to help you get there. We'll also be offering workshops, master classes, coaching, and all sorts of really cool transformative experiences. Things to help you learn more about yourself and accelerate your personal and spiritual transformation. So you can live from that soul's perspective. You can live from your authenticity. Because when we do that, right, we've been talking about the soul for a while here now, haven't we? But when we live from the soul's perspective, we're happier. Even if we have problems, we know how to handle them better. We have more joy, more peace, and more contentment. We'll talk about strategies to handle challenges. And really, what it comes down to is creating your most meaningful life, the life that you want to have, the life that you deserve. And the reason I'm talking about this now is that we are finalizing our plans. Between the two of us, we could teach so many topics, hundreds, I'm sure of it. And so we want to get your input. What would you love for us to teach? What would you love for us to talk about? The things that would help you meet your wants and needs. What do you want? What do you need? We have a very short survey that we would love for you to fill out. And the link is up above in the description of this workshop, of this radio show, and it'll also be in the comments. Greg will probably post it in a bit. So we want to know what you want to talk about. We want to know what you're really interested in. What would you be excited to learn about? What could make you feel better and live your happiest life? It's really awesome. We have so many ideas already, as you'll see in the survey. We've put some in there that we think you might like, and you get to pick which ones you like the best. You can add things, whatever you want. And while you're in the survey, you can also sign up if you want to get on the list, so you know when we open the doors, our enrollment eventually when we start this, and it will be next year in February. It is likely in February, beginning like February 1st, actually, is when we plan to launch that for real, and you can have your first class on February 1st. That's the plan, if all goes as planned. But enrollment will be limited, but if you are on the list, you'll obviously have first access. So the link up there, just copy and paste it. And it'll take you to a page that'll explain a little bit more about this community. And the survey will be at the bottom underneath our picture. We have a nice picture of us on there, but it'll be under that. So make sure you go to that. And I'll give you another heads up about something special. We are going to teach a free class in January, starting January 15th. It'll be 3 nights. And it's called, I'm going to make sure I say the right thing, Embracing the Light Within, or Embracing Your Light Within. We're going to be doing a free class. So if you're interested in that, that is where you want to go. And so just click on that link and you can find all sorts of information. You can do the survey and help us out so that we create what is important for you. It really is a passion of us to help people. So, I know people hate sales pitches, but this isn't really a sales pitch as much as I want you to have the opportunity to live your best life. And this is a way that can help you do it. So let's get to our topic. If you are just joining in and you are on a different page than mine, you want to be on Colleen Vanderzijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach. That's my official page. And you want to come over here if you want to ask questions or if you want to have a little mini reading. We are going to talk about past lives tonight. And we are going to do some mini past life readings. So let's talk about past lives. Whether you believe in past lives or not, I think we can probably agree that there has to be more to our lives than this only life, this one here. So if you're watching from here, you probably know me from Lilydale, of course, since it's a Lilydale radio show, and we know that our soul continues on to the other side, right? We know this. So wouldn't it also be possible that our soul is connected to other aspects of ourselves where we have been here in the past? Okay, so we want to make sure that we understand our soul goes on and that we do have different past lives. Certainly a consideration, isn't it? You know how sometimes, we talk about how we've met somebody and immediately we go, oh, this is an amazing person. I just love this person. Susan. So everybody with the link, if it may not click right through because we had a little glitch today, just copy and paste it and try the link that way, just in case. So when you meet somebody and you have this immediate connection, right? Sometimes if it's a male meeting a female or a female meeting a male or partners in that kind of way, we think, oh, they feel so familiar to me. I think we should get married. We should, whatever. And we feel like they're our soulmates and we need to be together. But that may or may not necessarily be the case. I have experienced times where I've met somebody and, there's just something about them that I resonated with. I really liked them for some reason, and maybe they did feel familiar. Then there are other people that we may have met that we immediately dislike them. Why is that? Why do we immediately dislike them? It's something about their energy. Okay, so their soul energy. Now, granted, if they're a jerk, there you are. But if they seem to act perfectly normal and they seem nice enough, but still we just get this weird vibe. These things could be, not necessarily always, but could be a sign of a past life connection where we knew them in a previous lifetime. This doesn't always mean that we are supposed to be best friends or anything like that, but there may be a soul connection there. I've told a lot of people this past summer, I don't know why it popped in readings, but I've told a lot of people that the person on the other side, they had past life connections. Their souls were connected and would always be connected. This doesn't mean, so say for example, you meet your perfect partner. They're amazing. You are so in love and then one of them passes and you think, well, I can never love anybody else again. That's not the case. You can, and you probably could if you want to. But sometimes people think that means the next lifetime we have to come back with that same person, so to speak. Not necessarily. We may have different plans. We may have different reasons for coming back into our physical existence. Maybe we want to go in a different direction. This doesn't mean we're still not connected to the greatest love of our life. But maybe next time we'll both decide to go in a different direction. We don't know. We won't know till we pass over or we're getting ready to come back down here and we decide what we're going to do. So what we might do is we start thinking about this. Some of the things that misconceptions or perceptions that we have about past lives. Sometimes we think with past lives that if we were bad in a past life, that in this lifetime now, that we have to pay for it. I've heard a few people say to me, well, I must have been a horrible person in a past life because I'm having a horrible life in this life. That's not necessarily the case. We get to choose our lessons at a soul level. We have a memory of it. And Greg was telling me earlier today about Edgar Cayce's theory on this, is that there is no karmic debt, but there is a karmic memory instead. So our soul will remember what we have learned and experienced in a past life. But this doesn't mean that we have to pay for our sins, if you will, in this lifetime or another lifetime. Sometimes we joke around, don't we, about, well, I don't like that person because they killed me in a past life. And people will say, well, am I supposed to kill them in this lifetime? Well, no. But we can recognize maybe there was something happening there. Maybe in a past life we did have some issues. Now, I mentioned last week about how I drowned in a past life. I know I did. So I, in this lifetime, do not go into the water where it's over my head. I just don't. Even when I took swimming lessons as a child, I had to take the test, I walked along the bottom of the pool and pretended to swim. Okay. I was young. I was probably 8, but I don't go in over my head. Now, this memory, my karmic memory from a past life, is affecting my lifetime now, right? Because I'm not swimming in deeper water. Now, I have a choice if I want to do something with that or not. Do I want to face that fear, learn how to swim better, etc.? And I don't. so I'm not going to in this lifetime. Maybe another lifetime. I am also convinced that in a past life, I died in childbirth. And the reason I believe this is because I had such difficulty getting pregnant and getting a child. And so my first child is adopted, and my second child I did get pregnant with. And this is why I think I passed in childbirth. My daughter, who was the person I was pregnant with, was breech, so I had to have a C-section. She was gigantic. She was like 9 pounds and 9 ounces, gigantic. So I had to have a C-section. So I did not give birth in the traditional sense in this lifetime. And I'm quite sure in that lifetime where I passed, I said to myself, or maybe out loud, probably screaming, that I am never giving birth again. So that memory did affect what happened in this lifetime. It's my theory. This is my theory here. No factual proof of anything, but there's that theory that I believe that so strongly at some level that I made sure I would not get pregnant in this lifetime, that I would not give birth. So as I worked through the adoption of my son, and eventually I moved into a different place, emotionally, mentally, and all those things. And so then at some level, I allowed myself to get pregnant, right? But then I did not want to give birth. So I made sure at some level, there's something happened to make sure I would not give birth in the traditional way. That is my theory. I do not know if it's true, but it feels right to me. As you get to know yourself better, you'll start to recognize when your soul is speaking to you, when your soul is giving you messages. Same thing about past lives. You'll start to recognize those past life connections. It's always so much fun when I do a workshop, and there's something about the right people always come together. And I say this all the time, my coaching programs, my workshops, everything. The right people come together. And you know how sometimes we don't feel like we know our people. We don't know where our people are. But when we have a workshop or we do something special, you notice how you'll make connections in those workshops. You'll feel safe there. You'll feel connected. There is a soul connection happening there. And that is part of the reason we're starting the community, so people can experience this sense of connection, so that we can experience that understanding that our soul is connected to everybody. Our soul is on a journey to learn, basically. Okay, so way back on our first incarnation, whatever that would mean and how far ago, I don't know. But our first incarnation, we may not have as many lessons as we do now. I don't know. But as we go through different lifetimes, different experiences, as we touch in with different kinds of people, and we start to really connect with people and our lives, we start to learn more about ourselves. We start to learn more about life. We start to learn more about our power and our free will and our divine connection. And with our soul in the past lives, it's such an opportunity for us. So it is so amazing that how much we can learn in each lifetime. And it's really a lesson for us, isn't it? Everything is really a lesson. I don't really like that phrase, it's just a lesson, because it sounds tedious and it sounds hard. And sometimes, yes, we do have hard challenges and we do learn things from them. I always like to go to the conversation of, let's play with this idea and see how it goes. So with past lives, we might need, if something happened in our past, we may need to work on forgiveness. Maybe we do meet that person and for whatever reason they rub us the wrong way, but there's no reason in this lifetime that they bother us. So maybe we just send forgiveness. We express forgiveness with ourselves, and we don't have to necessarily tell the other person we're forgiving them for something they know nothing about. And here is a hazard that just popped into my head with past lives. So say you're somewhere and you meet somebody and you just know that person was your husband in a past life, and you are convinced that you need to get married in this lifetime. Okay, you need to get married again. That's not necessarily a good thing to go up and say to somebody, because some people you may remember that past life with a person, but maybe they don't. So they're just going to think you're crazy and a whack job. So you don't really want to just to go up to somebody and say, oh, you're my soulmate. I know we were connected in a past life. Do not use that. It's just not good. Don't use it as pickup line either. But that's how it can be. But when you are in a group of like-minded people, it is so much fun to discover and play with those connections. Okay, we can play with those connections. I have met at a workshop a long time ago, I met a sister from a past life. I have met a husband from a past life. I know that I was in an Egyptian past life as well. And I also know I met another sister more recently, and that was fun. So it is so much fun when we start meeting people. Now, another thing, and then I will go back up and look at the comments, and then we'll get to doing some fun little past life readings. Another thing to think about is that when we incarnate, we don't always incarnate with the same features, the same sex, the same anything. We may or may not be female or male. We may be something else. And I'm not saying animals, okay? I'm talking about humans. Because lots of times, I think about myself in a past life, and I think I was a woman in a past life, right? Because that's what I identify with here. But maybe in a past life, I was a male, right? So we could be different sexes and different orientations, different everything as we go through this. So let's see. I'm going to go back through and check some of these comments as far as I can go, because you know how sometimes it stops me, and it has. Can someone make the same mistake over and over in a previous life? I don't know who asked it because it moved too fast on me. But you could, if you did not learn it the first time around, your soul, at some level in your soul, is going to choose to give you an opportunity to learn it again. Okay, so you could make the same mistake. Now, if you recognize you're making the same mistake, then obviously that's the time to use your free will and do a different choice. Mindy is saying, I always believed it to be, we have karma to work out so we can ascend. And Mindy, as I get more experienced and more aware of things, I used to believe the same thing, but I don't anymore. So we could also, rather than karma in terms of a payback or that we also have to experience what we gave to another, maybe our karma is also forgiveness, forgiving ourselves. Maybe our karma is choosing to go in a new direction. Okay, the word karma might carry some weight for us, but maybe karma means we just learn and move in a new way, that we don't have to pay in some way. Okay, let's see. Michael says he's had nightmares for years about a fire. And yes, Michael, actually, you were in a fire in a previous lifetime. Okay, hold on. I'm going to write you down, Michael, so I come back to you. Fire. Arthur Ford. Yes, you can learn so much about Arthur Ford. Okay. Yeah, the bond in the coaching groups I've had is amazing. And speaking of the coaching group, I have one opening left for my coaching group that starts in January. I got somebody on Thursday who's hoping I've left that for them. Whether they take it or not, I don't know. But anyway, there is one. So past life regressions, we want to talk more about those. And that is really Greg's department. I have worked with them a bit, but he's the expert on past life regressions. And what we might do, if you guys are interested, and if I think of it at the end, I'll ask you, maybe we can have him come on next week and he can talk more about those things. Let's see what else. I'm just looking. I feel like my husband and I knew each other in a previous life. Ellen, I bet you did. Catherine, I feel my new friend was my sister in a past life. Catherine, sister, new friend. I'm writing it down. Going to just check the comments, and then I'm going to come back to you people that I'm writing it down. Is it possibly an animal in a past life or have current animals based on their actions? Personally, I don't believe that. I am definitely not. I never do anything 100% on these things because we don't know everything, do we? So I don't believe that. But if it feels right to you, could be true. This life is an awakening, that is for sure. Forgiveness and life lessons, yes. I feel like my husband and our dog were connected in a previous life. And that's another thing, right? We could have those connections with animals, right? Why not? Animals have souls too. So why couldn't we? It's the same thing when we cross over to the other side. Our animals are there to greet us as well. They have souls. They have the energy. We're connected to them. So why couldn't we have a soul connection with the animals? I definitely think that is true, and I believe that 100%. Crystal wants to know if she was a nurse. That's a good one. Nurse. I'll come back to you too. I'm terrified of drowning. Premonitions of being stuck and unable to get out. Angie. Okay. Angie, stuck, drowning. I am seeing that actually, Angie. Tornadoes. I am with you on that, Stephanie, but I blame that on a movie I saw in 4th grade. I never thought about it as a past life event. It could truly be that. I had a big loss of a loved one in a fire. Isn't it amazing how you guys have these thoughts, these ideas that because of whatever's going on in this time, you have a phobia, a fear, a concern, even just a passing thought, and you're connecting it with a possibility of a past life. And it certainly could be true, right? It certainly could be. Rebecca's talking about feeling like she's been here many times, as though she's an old soul. We sort of touched on this in a previous show, but I can't remember what I said, so we'll see what comes out of my mouth today. But here's my theory. Aren't we all old souls? Aren't we all part of that divine universal energy? Aren't we all a part of that? And if we are all a part of that, then we are all old, if you will, in quotes. We're doing that one in quotes. So what we say when we're talking about an old soul is that we think we've had a lot of difficulties and challenges, or maybe we're more wise. When I think of an old soul, if I see a child who seems to be very wise, I go, that must be an old soul. And that means they're very wise. They're very connected to that divine universal energy. That's how I read that for myself. And so I think that each time we incarnate, we choose what we want to learn. We choose what our lessons are. And so maybe in this lifetime, we are what we would call the old soul. We're very wise. We're very connected. But maybe in the next lifetime, we want to come in where we're not so connected, so that we have to relearn how to make that commitment to be connected to our soul, to our divine spiritual energy, to be connected to the universal energy. Maybe the next time we do that and we forget how wise we were in a previous life. It's certainly something to think about, isn't it? Leanne is saying my mom was definitely my mom in a past life. She was put here to punish me for a reason. Interesting. I'm not touching that one. My daughter was my mother in a past life. She told me when she was about 3. So that's interesting. Okay, so I've got some names jotted down. Let's do the names first. And then as I get going, you can keep asking questions. Now remember, I can only see so many because it scrolls out somehow. So if you have to repeat yourself, do not be offended. I have not gotten to your question. And also know this, that as I'm doing your questions, I am in a different place. Okay, I'm focused over here. I'm getting information from over here. So I'm not looking at what you're writing. So if I miss you, do not be offended by this. And again, to remind you, you must be on my page, Colleen Van Der Zijden, Medium and Intuitive Life Coach, in order for me to see your comments. And if you're on the spiritual growth page as well, you need to be over here as well. If you don't want to ask questions, or you don't want me to look for you for a reading, that's cool too. You do what you want. Jennifer, I got to comment on this because I love it. I'm with you too. She said something about being not believing soulmates are one, and that we can have many soulmates in our lifetimes. And I absolutely agree with that. I believe my son is one of my soulmates because he has given me some great challenges, so I can expand my soul and continue to step in the love. So we have different kinds of soulmates. And if we look at soulmates as helping us grow on our path, not necessarily the romantic, idealized soulmate thing, but they help us grow on our path. Okay, let me talk to these people here. And you guys keep, maybe pause a minute on your questions just to make sure. I do see we have a stars party going, a challenge started. So the goal is, according to Facebook, to try to get as many stars in here as possible in 5 minutes. So go. Okay, so Michael, he talked about a fire and feeling as though he was in a fire. And I definitely can see this, Michael. And I'm seeing you as a child, and I see you as a young boy. I also see that this fire started by the fireplace. It was you know how sometimes the stuff in the fireplace catches on fire. I don't know the word, creosote, something like that. And so it was something to do with this. So it hadn't been maintained, and so this fire starts. And you, being you, actually, there was another person with you, another child. It looks like a young girl. And there is this sense of you it's really, it's just giving me goosebumps right now. You helped get her out of the house. You helped push her out of the house, and then unfortunately the things collapsed, and there you have it. So Michael, yes, it is understandable by that, and I would also wonder if you are a little bit, what's the word? Claustrophobic. If you're a little claustrophobic, with tight spaces. And the thing here with your soul with this, and I do want to talk about your soul with this, is because you have been such a giver. And in lots of your lifetimes, you've been a giver. You want to be there for people. And part of it is it's just who you are. It's a calling there. And there is this, okay. There is this sense within your soul that you have, at some level, you have chosen to forgive the situation and to forgive what happened. Other people might blame, okay? We might, in that circumstance, we might blame whoever didn't keep the fireplace clear and clean. We might blame our sister because she lived and I didn't. But that's not you, that's not your soul. That's not who you are. So you have, at some level, expressed forgiveness toward this. And knowing, now here's the thing, everybody. If you know something has happened in your lifetime, in a past lifetime, and it's affecting you in this lifetime, there are lots of different directions you can go. For me, I'm not going to go swimming in the water because I don't want to this lifetime. Maybe next time. Okay, but Michael can decide what he wants to do with this information. Is he going to go, okay, I get it, it makes sense. And maybe it's enough for his fear of the fire, or maybe claustrophobia, decreasing. It might be enough to go, okay, it did happen. It's okay. I'm perfectly safe in this lifetime. And he understands where he came from, what was happening, what was going on. And he recognizes that the fear of the fire is legit, yes, but at the same time, him passing in the fire was love. It was kindness. It was wanting to help. Okay, so sometimes knowing these things can help us move forward. So maybe for myself, maybe I should explore why I got drowned and go that way. And maybe I will, because somebody talked about getting stuck drowning, and that's where I'm going next. So Michael, there's some things to think about for you. Okay, I'm going to scroll up a little bit. Terrified of fireplaces. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Like, how did I even know that? I tell you, I have the most amazing guides on the other side. They are something else. Yes, and that makes sense. That makes sense. So, but now you have a different way to handle it. Okay, now I want to go to Angie because she was stuck drowning. And Angie, let me tell you my impressions of this, because it was so clear as soon as you said that and I saw that. And, I see you on a ship, okay? I see you on a ship. Like, I don't know if it's the Titanic. And here's the thing with doing past life stuff. We all want to be a king. We all want to be a queen. We all want to be special. We all want to, have burned up in Hindenburg, or, yeah, this sounds very blasé and flippant on my part, right? But you know what I mean? We want something that's special, but everything is special, and it doesn't have to be, I don't have to be, Cleopatra from Egypt. I don't have to be that. I could have just been somebody from Egypt, right? So I just use that as an example. So Angie, I see you on a ship, and I see the ship sinking. Okay. I see you down below. You were in the part where the poor people are. Okay, so we're talking years ago. Okay, you were in the part where people didn't have money. You know how way long time ago those ships, those wooden ones, they just crammed everybody down there, kind of thing. So you were down on that, and I do get the feeling that you were coming, you were crossing an ocean. Okay, so you were going someplace else. So I get the feeling you were there. I see the ship. It runs aground or hits something. It hits something. There's a big crack, and the ship starts sinking. Now the problem here, right? All these people in the bottom part, because they're not allowed on the top, there's only one small door on the back part of the ship. And so it's like a stampede of people trying to get up, and people can't get up. So the ship is sinking, and everybody's basically drowning there. So there's this sense of, obviously, the trapped feeling, not being able to get out of that. And that's part of it. And similar to Michael, I would wonder too if you also have some claustrophobia too, because that panicked feel is there. And you were not that old, actually, when you passed either. You were in your teens, and I'm talking like 13, 14, 15. But back then, 13, 14, 15 is kind of old. Okay, like you would have been getting ready to get married, that kind of feeling. Okay, so there is some connection there with that. And you were a female as well in that lifetime. Yeah, so... Yeah, and also, Angie, you probably don't like, I'm 100% sure on this. I'd be surprised if you tell me no. You probably don't like going below in a boat. You know, no matter how big or small it is, you probably don't like going below. And that would be why. But again, knowing that something like this has happened in a past life can help us kind of get a better understanding of what it is. We might still feel some sadness over that lifetime and that version of you who didn't get to make it to the other side of the ocean, who didn't get to whatever your plans and dreams were. But at the same time, we can also recognize, that life is life and things happen, and we can just integrate that into our lifetime today and go, yes, in the past life I did this, and I wish, Now, Greg was telling me earlier that in several of his past lives, he committed suicide. Okay, so in this lifetime, he's had other experiences where he helps people who are struggling with depression and who could be suicidal. That's part of his path now because he understands it from a different perspective. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, life is odd, isn't it? Okay, so I got Angie. Let's see, was it Kathleen? A sister, new friend. Okay, I write really fast when I do these things. Can't read my own handwriting. So Kathleen, you talked about having a new friend who feels like a sister, and I'm going to tell you, yes, that is accurate. Definitely accurate. And actually, I'm wondering if one of you was a male and one of you was a female. But I do feel this very strong connection. You almost feel like twins. It feels so tight to me. It feels like you guys... And this will be fun for you in this lifetime because I feel you finishing each other's sentences, that kind of thing. And your morals and values are very similar. And in that past life, you guys were very, very close. And here's something. I don't feel a big tragedy around you guys. Isn't that nice? So I don't feel a big tragedy around you. I feel like you were together. You were siblings for a while. And then you just crossed over, basically. And so I'm not feeling a tragedy in that lifetime. And a loss of the other person. It feels more like to me that when you were together previously, you really had a good time together and you loved each other so much. And it's kind of like you said, let's do this again. Let's come back and do this again. That's what it feels like to me. So this will be fun to see how this relationship grows in this lifetime. How fun is that? That is so fun. Okay, so Crystal, she wanted to know if she was a nurse. And so Crystal, and don't worry, and this will be my last one on my list, and then I will come up here and check more of the comments. So I will get to more people because we still have time. So, Crystal, you want to know if you were a nurse, and you were a healer / medicine woman in a past life. This does not feel Native American to me. Okay, I know a lot of people want to know about Native American. Was I Native American, and etc. But this does not feel like that to me. I actually feel like I'm in. Hold on, what country is this? I'm somewhere in Europe. Okay, I'm somewhere in Europe with you, Crystal, and you're, you know how people grow like herbs and things like that, natural medicine. I'm going to call it natural medicine for lack of whatever term it should be. You were that kind of person. You grew the herbs and the plants and all that stuff, and you made the drinks and that. And so you were I'm going to call you a doctor, but you're really not a doctor in our understanding today. But you were that kind of person that was there for people. And people would come to you for help, of course, and you would go to them to help them. And you were also very intuitive, very wise. You would know exactly what the other person needed in order to be healed. And you were very good at it. you made a big difference in a lot of people's lives. And here's a difference between sometimes things we've heard in the past. You know, in the past you would hear the stories about medicine men or women or people. If you didn't heal somebody, you know, the king or something, they'd chop your head off. I don't feel that around you. You are so well respected that if someone did pass or something, they didn't get better, the blame was not placed on you. Part of that is because of the evolution and the higher, I'll call it, vibration of the community. They understood. So you were not blamed for these things. If you are a medical person in this lifetime, or you're in any kind of helping field in this lifetime, I would bet that you're very intuitive and you know how to tell people and help people in the way they need to be helped. Yes, so Angie's saying yes on that. Michael's saying small highways. That's funny. Hallways. Yeah, isn't it weird, Michael? I don't know. Yes. Okay, Amber, let's go with you because that caught my interest. She says she hates to have constriction on her throat. Even sweatshirts can make me feel like I can't breathe. Now, we can all know something happened here, right? If this is a really big deal for her. Now, sometimes if she was a child, say she was 1 or 6 months old and she choked a lot, there could be some leftover memory inside her somewhere. So something like that, it could not necessarily be a past life. It could be something that happened earlier in her life. I don't feel that in this case, okay? But I do want to put that out there. So for her, when I'm feeling what's going on here, and I'm actually really feeling what's going on there, that is crazy, Amber, because I know that this constriction was very real here. It does not feel like a drowning to me. It does feel more like a strangling to me, okay? Now, I have to give you guys all a caveat or a disclaimer or something. I don't want to trigger anyone. Okay, so if I'm talking about something and it really upsets you, there might be something in your history or past life that needs to be addressed or looked at. Don't take something that's happened in a past life and bring all those negative fears and emotions into this lifetime. What we want to do is help dissolve those fears and emotions, okay? But the other part of this is I don't want to trigger you, okay? So if you, in the past life, and I'm talking about strangling, somebody attacked you once or anything like that, and that's triggering you, if you need to step away, you go step away. You need to log out, you log out, okay? I don't want to trigger you, okay? So Amber, I do feel in the past for you that somebody did strangle you. Now, here's an interesting part. I don't feel like you passed with that. I don't feel that. I feel like you passed out, but I don't feel like you passed. Okay, so I do feel like you came back to life, if you will, and I do believe it was one of those abusive husband situations, from ages ago, where they did the arranged marriages. So it feels like an arranged marriage, and you were not following the rules that were laid down for you and who you were supposed to be. And it's not that you were being stubborn. It's not that you were being obnoxious or pushing back. You just didn't hop to enough, fast enough. And so this other person got really mad at you and took it out on you. So I do feel that, and I do feel it was that abusive situation. I also feel, as I said, that you did not pass. I do feel, though, that you somehow managed to escape this situation. And I feel that there were other women around you who helped you escape, and then you were safe. Okay, so that's an interesting one, too. Well, think about that, Amber. That's kind of interesting. Greg is talking about, somebody said something about speaking Spanish, and Greg says, it's not uncommon for skills to hang over from other lifetimes. Think Mozart. And that is so true. I had a student once who played the violin just so well, starting in 4th grade. I knew for sure she must have played the violin in a previous life, because there's no way a typical 4th grader was going to play at that level. Yeah, in the very beginning. So that's it. Okay, cool. Let's see what else. Herbologist. Thank you, Cheryl. Oh, you guys are so good. You guys know my words. When I start doing this stuff, I can't find words. It's just the way it is. Debbie, I feel like that I was a nun living in a convent. Okay, this is interesting, Debbie. I feel that similar to you, but I'm feeling something bigger than that. What I'm getting is a lot of pain in my head right here. And I want to know, number one, if you have a lot of headaches carrying over. I am wondering if, gosh, this is, no, not that. Not nun. You are not a nun. You are actually accused of being a witch. Here's where the nun part comes in. You were very spiritually inclined. Okay, so there is the sense of you wanting to be a nun, wanting to go into that kind of, I'm going to call it a field, that kind of service, that you wanting to go into that. And because you were actually quite peaceful, and people didn't quite understand you. You were definitely in another mindset. You know, there's that spiritual part of you, and it feels so, you know, when somebody's really spiritual and they just carry this aura of peace and connection, it's kind of like that. And the people didn't get you. So someone accused you of being a witch, and that was the time where they would do the stoning. Okay, so there's that feeling about you. What is very interesting with this is you being so spiritual forgave them right from the beginning because they did not know what they were doing, as Jesus would say, right? They know not what they do. So you forgave them right away. And then as you came back into other lifetimes, there's always that spiritual aspect of you. And that doesn't mean you want to be a nun now, and that doesn't mean you're going to, whatever, become a minister or anything like that, but maybe you want to. But there is that spiritual component that is very strong for you. That was really interesting. Wow. Yeah. Stephanie saying not to bring that, emphasizing what I said about not to bring the feelings and fears from the past into this life. We want to let them go. We want to use them to learn, right? So, when I look at myself and in using the example of my drowning, I don't go, I don't get scared about the water, but I'm still choosing not to go in it. Okay, so it's not like it's a phobia for me. Okay. And if you do have phobias that seem to come from wherever, past lives or whatever, find a licensed professional therapist who can help you work through those. There's all sorts of ways they can do that. You are welcome. Let's see. Okay, everything. How do we heal past life traumas? I'm taking care of my dad, and some things have triggered traumas I had in this lifetime, but I've also felt it's past life traumas being brought up, and I don't know why. Ooh, that is interesting, Heidi, because you're mentioning taking care of your father, and I would wonder about that soul life, past life connection with him, and there is this sense. Okay, got it. There is this sense of him. Okay, and I'm going to keep you actually in the same roles in another lifetime. I want him as your father and you as his daughter. The same roles feels right to me. I feel as though something really gets bad. Okay. I feel a lot of illness around, like a flu or whatever, plague or whatever is going on. So I feel a lot of that going on. I feel him feeling quite hopeless about making a change, making things better. And I feel him being helpless about trying to protect you. And I also feel that he is not the strongest person in that lifetime, and I mean that mentally strong. I feel like he's more meek, more timid in that lifetime. And there's this feeling of failure on his part in that lifetime, but not being able to protect you, not being able to save you. So there's something going on in that area. So I wonder about the traumas that you would have experienced where he couldn't help you. Oh, you know what it was? It was that he was a slave and you were his daughter, and you being his daughter was, how can I put this tactfully? Let's just say that some of the people in the area who were not slaves would take advantage of you. Okay. So there are some traumas related to that. And that is very interesting because, when we look at that, the whole slavery history and the deliberate suppression and control and abuse of whole sections of societies in all areas, not just here in the United States, but all sorts of places. So there may be some trauma related to all of that. That's pretty huge right there when that popped in. So that's pretty huge. I would expect that you are the kind of person who is all about equality and fairness, that you want to always do what's right. And that would come from this lifetime and probably others as well. And so there may be some things there. So some karmic things that need to be addressed, looked at, released, considered. Wow, interesting, isn't that? Whoo, I didn't expect that to come out of my mouth. Hi, Debbie. Years of headaches. Isn't that interesting? And that would come from this, that whole stoning kind of thing. Isn't that craziness? But knowing this, you might be able to, the headaches might decrease. Just knowing, especially knowing the part where you forgave them. Oh, goodness me. Let's see what else we have. Okay, Michael says, I just got a very weird feeling like I need to cry. This can happen. Okay, Sarah, hold on. I'm coming there. This can happen sometimes when we address past lives, because we do have that memory. So that means we do feel some of those things, and it's okay if we want to express, if we want to cry, because that'll help us let go. But also it acknowledges who we were in that lifetime and the healing we deserved, or the sadness that we experienced in that lifetime. And it's okay to acknowledge that and recognize it and accept it and send positive healing, if you want, backwards, so to speak. I mean, there is a theory that everything is happening at once. There is no time in the past. That's for another day, but that's something to think about too. So if there's things that are touching you guys, think about it, see where it goes, and we'll see. So Sarah, you said something about going to Salem. Yes. And right. I mean, when we think of witchcraft and witches, we always think of Salem. And I also had a very strong pull to Salem. I have been there several times. There's just something about it that it just feels right to me in terms of the energy that is there. Now it's all touristy. It's not quite the same, of course, as it was. But there is something about the history there with that and how we connect. And when we do have that kind of connection, it is definitely likely, how's that for vague, to be a witch kind of thing. Okay, Leslie, I'm not sure on this one. She says, my daughter tossed me to the curb several years ago. I was told it was a carryover from a past life. I was killed as a witch and left her behind. I am not, well, and that could have happened in a lifetime, okay? What I'm feeling is not that, okay? I'm only touching it on one, you guys, so I'm not doing like your whole, thousands of them. So the one I am feeling, because I feel like there's more to it. Sounds weird to say more to it than that, because that's pretty big. I feel it's a lot more simple than this. What I'm feeling is you got sick and died, and you left her. And it's not your fault. You got sick. It's the way it is. And she was young and she blamed you. Kind of like I said, how sometimes we blame other people for things, and that whoever I was talking to before did not do that. I think it was Michael. Didn't blame anybody for what was happening. So I just see that there is that sense of abandonment about her. You abandoned me. And that turns into the story that you abandoned me because I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I'm not this. I'm not that. And so that could certainly be another piece of that issue. And a side note here, that when our children or other people cut us out of their lives for whatever reasons, it's their reason and it's their issue. It's not ours. Now, if we've done something wrong to offend someone, if we have been a horrible person, we've been a jerk, and we can open our eyes to see it, then what we do is we apologize for it. We make amends as best we can. Then it's up to the other person to decide if they are going to accept our apology. That is not our problem. Okay, that's not our problem. We could be sad that they don't accept it, but if they don't accept it, that's their right. They have every right to do that. They do not have to accept our apology. And then we just have to figure out how to move forward without that. So there's that. Okay. Let's see. Can past life connections reunite? Absolutely. It happens all the time. All the time. And, because we are human, we always think of that idealized, romantic, we're back together again, amen, yay. But there are so many other relationships we have in our lives, and we can reunite with our parent from a past life. We could be the parent in a past life, etc. So we definitely come together. Okay, let's see. Carla, I missed your question. Carla, you'll have to ask it again. I just saw that. I hope you have time to answer my question, and I don't see the question. So ask it again. I'm keep scrolling here. I'm waiting. Oh, so Crystal, you are a nurse and still love it. Oh my gosh, I love that. Isn't that amazing? I tell you, I am so amazed at the stuff that comes out of my mouth. And let me tell you, it's not me, it's them. It's spirits, it's my guide, it's the universe, it's whatever. I always trust them to come through for me. It's amazing. It really is. Okay, good. Isn't that amazing? I need to go. Thank you, everyone. Oh, you guys are sweet. Okay, I'm looking for Carla, actually. Was my stepson my son in a previous life? This is Cheryl. Was my stepson my son in... You're very close to him, aren't you? Are you close to him? That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling close. Stepson, your son. I like that feeling. I like that feeling a lot. There is this, and here's the thing that I'm really enjoying, not only you caring for him, but him caring for you and being there for you. I love that feeling. So I'm going to say yes on that one. Yes, we say that. Okay, hold on. I'm scrolling still. You guys are awesome. You need to do this again, as in past life readings. That was going to be my question. You are like psychic with me tonight, Samuel. Because what we could do next week, and I'm going to do a couple more maybe. What we could do next week is I could have Greg come on, and you could ask him questions about past life regressions, for like 15 minutes or whatever. And then I will do some readings like this and see. Okay, I love your lighthouse. Thanks. Those are beacons for souls who are lost. Oh, I love that because it's on my book cover on purpose because, lighthouses light the way and are strong in adversity. And we are like a lighthouse. It's actually the last chapter in my book because I talk about comparing lighthouses to how strong we are and how we are like we are. Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't know if I'll have the answer. Ellen says, does genealogy also match past lives? Okay. I'm going to take that to mean that if I look at my past life or my genealogy and I go back a bit, I could find myself again? Is that what you mean? I do know that sometimes when people have past life readings or past life regressions, that sometimes in the regressions, information will come through that can be verified. Like you might say, I live in Italy in 1822, and my name was whatever. And then you can go and search it. I have seen that can happen. I don't think it's a regular occurrence, but I've seen this and watched some of those, and it's pretty cool. So I'm not sure how to answer that one. I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to leave that one, Ellen, and see if it comes in later. Okay. I'm not sure. I can only see some comments. Hold on. Okay, scrolling again. Not sure if my comment. Jennifer, ask your comment again because I can only see a few and then it just like disappears on me. Carla, oh, that's your question. Here it is. My brother passed and I reconnected with a friend. We both believe he had something to do with it because we feel like we knew each other years ago. I think he wants to be warned of someone. Your friend wants to be warned? Is that what you're saying? My brother passed and I reconnected with a friend. We both believe it had something to do with it. We feel like we know. I think he wants to be warned of someone. I'm not sure what that part means. What is very interesting to me is that as a medium, I have had a lot of spirits on the other side help us here connect with certain people, whether it's new partners, whether it's somebody who leads us to a new job or whatever. I do believe that souls and spirits on the other side can help us physically in this side by kind of setting up the energy so that we meet the right people at the right time. I do believe that is true and can happen. The sense with you guys knowing each other and it feeling familiar. Part of it, of course, you knew each other a while ago, right? But there is more to it. And going into that past life, I am all of a sudden seeing baseball. I don't know if it was you or he, but I am all of a sudden seeing baseball, and there's a connection with that in a past life. Yeah. I almost feel like you guys were in a business kind of relationship in a past life, that you helped him. And you were a very strong woman. So still same sexes here. Strong women. Okay. Anyway, I want to know about this warned thing because I'm not sure what that means. I do want to know that. Into my life because she's supposed to help me watch out for someone. We're very connected. So this friend is a female, not a male. So I think my brother brought her into my life because she's supposed to help you watch out for someone. Okay, that almost makes more sense. But who's the guy with the baseball? Okay, remember I said that because that's very strong to me, that there is a guy with the baseball and you help them. Remember that. It's very strong. Okay. Help you watch out for someone. Like a protection thing, you're saying then. Yeah, that your brother is trying to help you be protected. That could be. That could be. I kind of like that. And if you knew her in a past life too, the feeling I get there, okay, this is going to be really funny. Do you remember those old-fashioned car hops that would, it's so funny. I love when things pop into my head that I never think about. And this is something I've never thought about. You know how they would have the strap here and they would have like a little table kind of thing there and they would carry it out like car hops or like people who would sell things, I don't know, maybe at a baseball game. There's a connection there, I bet. Things like that. I am seeing that. And I feel like you guys were doing something like that and scraping by, but knowing how to play the game to get more money and stuff. Oh my gosh, what a weird, interesting comment that is, isn't it? Yes, I love that. I love that. Yeah, think about that, because that's just different. That's just different. Okay, what time am I at? I'm at 9:01. Okay, so here's the question. If you want me to do this again next week, some people have said this, they do already. It's kind of fun. I'm really shocked at some of the things that come out of my mouth that you guys agree with. So I'm like, whoo, lucky spirits for us tonight. And we can have Greg talk about the past lives and regressions, how they work maybe a little bit. And he can tell us, you know, maybe some of the stories of things that have happened in past lives, you know, some of the regressions he's done or something. And then we can do some more past life readings and stuff. So before we stop, I do want to remind you, we have the link in there for the survey for a soul empowerment community. We just want your input. I mean, I'm not going to harass you or anything like that. There is an opportunity to sign up to be on the list. So you are the first to know and you have first access to the group when we finally do open it. So you can put your email in that space. So check out the survey, see if it's working for you. And hopefully it does. We don't have any glitches or anything like that. And, we will hold on. I gotta get rid of somebody. Where'd he go? Oh, poop. Every now and then we get somebody in here. So if you see somebody in here who says that, you know, sign up for this or that reading, everything was bad until I connected with this person, I block those people. Do not ever click on them. Never, never, never click on them. Okay. So as I was saying, the soul empowerment community, to fill out the survey. If you might want to participate in this group. It's going to be amazing. And we have so many things we're going to teach and show you, but we do want to make sure we're doing what you want, what you need. And so we're going to have, he'll teach some, I'll teach some, we'll do some things together. We'll have lots and lots of different topics. We'll have all sorts of ways you can connect with each other, find your friends, and meet your people. That's what we're going to do. Greg does past life regressions. He does those. They're long sessions, but he can tell you more about that next week. They are long sessions because it takes you, it's hypnosis. We got to get you into the flow, got to make sure you're, in the space. And he does do them online. You don't have to be in person. So, yes, isn't it fun to do, you guys? I am just having so much fun doing this. So, okay, we will talk more about this next week then. So if you want to learn more, again, fill out our survey. It's at the top in the link right at the very top. You can do that. You want to know more about me or see what else is going on, you can go to my website, ColleenVanderzuyden.com, or BeCourageouslyYou.com. And it takes you to the same place. You can find out everything. Please do follow me here on this page, Colleen Vanderzuyden, medium and intuitive life coach, so that we can connect as much as we can. You can get a hold of him. You can just send me a message if you want to get a hold of Greg, and I will pass your information right on to him. And then you can go from there. It'll be so much fun. Okay, you guys have a wonderful week, and we will do this again next week, and we will have a guest on of Greg, and he will give us all sorts of information. So you guys have fun, and I will see you later. Have fun. Bye.